Honey Badger here. Today I'm going to try to fix my dual Moto-Massage on this Hot Springs unit. This is a 2009 Aria. The dual Moto-Massage over here is kind of not going all the way up and down, and it's getting stuck a lot towards the bottom when I'm using it, and it's never been worked on before. So I'm going to try a zero cost DIY on this. Well, I shouldn't say zero. There's a couple of components on here. There's the individual Moto-Massage units. There's a pair of those, and then there's an Air Manifold, and I've already purchased actually a new manifold. I'm going to replace this. Really, because this was inexpensive. This was 15 bucks, and each of those Moto-Massages is 115. So I want to try to do something to see if I can resurrect them. But I was curious to see if maybe the old unit, the tube has shortened at all, because it seems like it's getting stuck behind the body of the tub sometimes. So first of all, I'm going to drain it. You don't have to drain it to repair. To do this repair, you can do it with water in it, but I haven't drained mine in quite a while, and I'm going to try using this stuff. It's called Yuk Jetted Bathtub Cleaner. I'm going to run some of this, about half of this 16-ounce bottle. I'm going to add it to the water. I'm going to run it for 15 minutes or maybe more, depending on what I see. I've never really cleaned it, but it's supposed to take the biofilm off of the tub. And I've never cleaned it before. I'm just going to give that a try and see what it does. It may do nothing, but I'll give that a whirl first and then drain the tub. Okay, I've been running this for about 45 minutes. It says to run it for 15, but more doesn't hurt. So it is kind of gunky over here. Kind of nasty looking. I'm gonna shut it off and start draining it and see what these filters look like. I'm kind of afraid to see what the filters are gonna look like. So I'm just gonna go over here and shut off the breakers to shut off the heat and the power and start draining. Well, I'm still waiting for the tub to drain, but I thought while I'm waiting, I'll point out a couple of interesting things about this. This is the center manifold piece, the air manifold, that connects the two Moto-Massages, which I'll be showing you later. But this is a brand new one that I paid 15 bucks for. But one of the interesting things is it does not appear that this was actually extruded as a round tube. It looks like it's oval, and you can see it's wider in this direction than in this direction, and I measured it. It's actually about 1/10 of an inch difference between this way and this way. Now, there's really no way that could naturally happen with a tube unless it was extruded that way. So I don't know if that's important to the operation of this thing, but if you look at it, for instance, it's got a much different rigidity in this direction than in this direction. It just kind of falls apart. Well, or if I even get it a little farther apart, it'll just collapse here like this, whereas here it stays. So I don't know if that's important to the operation of the Moto-Massage, but I thought I would point that out. So this was the actual part that I ordered. I just took it back in the bag, but if you're going to order one of these replacement parts for your Moto-Massage, make sure you put in the serial number of your unit and make sure you get the right part. Like I said, this is for a 2009 Hot Springs Aria. Well, she's not quite drained yet, but I'm going to start taking this off. Just use a flat blade screwdriver and pop these out. Whoop. Go fishing for that one. Phillips head screwdriver. Take the screws out. Have it. The infamous Moto-Massage unit. Let me get this screw out of here first so I don't lose it. Okay, and grab my little tab. Dry my hands off. All right. So basically what was happening with this thing was it was drifting to one side and getting caught either here or against the, I guess it wouldn't have been in here. I guess it was right really against this lip here. So sometimes it would just get stuck. And it was never coming all the way up to the top. These holes right here, I never got anything out of these holes. So the first thing you got to do is get this tube off, and you basically just roll this. There's a there's a O-ring here that you just, it's all black. You roll it back and you pull this out. You get a little slippery in here yet. Oh wow, that just popped right off. Yeah, this hose, I mean, it's kind of got a shape to it, and it's very stiff. I mean, look at that. I try to bounce it. Nothing going on there. It's very stiff, probably from the chlorine over the years. So that's problem number one. And I'm not sure that that would be fixable, honestly. And I may be out of luck with the tubes too, but I'm still going to see what I can do. So the next step is to get this piece off, and it should just snap off. Let me see if I can figure this out. Okay, what you got to do here is you got to kind of get in here into the corner and just pry this thing back like so. It fits into these. It fits into these tube holes here. Sun behind me, so I can't even see the screen, so let's see. There we go. Alright. of these holes here. It just slides down. You just push it up against here. Now the other thing you'll notice is that these go in a certain way. And they have a little, the outlets are to the outside, and then they have these little dots, top and bottom, which need to be vertically aligned. And then these little lines here that go across, of course, need to be horizontal. So when you're putting them back in, that's how they need to line up. And these just unscrew, so I'm just gonna unscrew them. Wow. Yeah, this guy's kind of doesn't really want to bend down in that direction too much. Yeah, it's just really stiff. Same true with this one, I'm sure. Yeah, look at that. It's just, that thing should be drooping at the end. Like that, I think. And so I'm going to attempt to rejuvenate this thing and get this tube off and try to rejuvenate these tubes, because they probably just got so much chlorine that they've stiffened up. A couple more things I want to show you on this old tube, and this is why you should either buy a new assembly, or if you do use a new tube, you're going to need to make it longer than this old one, because this tube actually shrunk. I mean, I got them lined up here on this end, and you know, it's probably quarter, 3/8, probably 3/8 of an inch, I would say, shrunk from the old one. And so that is probably making a difference too in how this thing moves. But also, I mean, just look at this. It's cracking here. Yeah, there's no way to resurrect this tube. So I'm glad I ordered this piece. I may end up having to order other pieces or use some aftermarket tubing. But first, I'm just going to try to take this off and see what it looks like. Okay, this end here, you can just work its way off. Wish I had another hand. There we go. So that just fits on, friction fit over this little nipple here. And then once you get that off, over here, you can see, if you look through the top here, you can see that this rides in these little channels. Right? So if you look through here, you can see once you get that down below the channel, we're going to twist this tube to get it out of the channel, and then we can pull it out. And I don't think I can do that unless I don't have enough hands, but here I got it locked in. I'm just gonna push it, twist it, and pull it out. Actually, you've got to get it down until this yellow piece is below the little channel. So you got to push it down pretty hard before you can turn it. Okay, this end is now out of the channel and latched, and so you gotta, on mine, it looks like there's a little bit of a lip there. You gotta push this end You have to push this in through the hole to be able to slide this tube out. Just gotta work it down in there through the hole. And again, I'm just gonna, maybe I can just pull on it, but I'd actually rather just push on it, so I'm gonna try doing that. Wow, this thing is really stiff. I'm gonna check that out. I'm just giving it a pretty good wiggle, and it just really doesn't want to move that much. And this piece also, it has flats on it, so this is also extruded in a certain direction. And it looks like, looking at the other one, and I think this is very important, when it's attached, the flats need to go vertically along this spine when you put the hose in. If you're going to try to do a repair with this hose, if I can get this thing to get wiggly again. But it looks like the flat of the hose is aligned with the top of the spine, top and bottom of the spine, and so it probably won't oscillate properly if you don't put it in that way. Okay, I got both of these out. You can see, like I discussed before, you got a flat here in the hose, so that's actually extruded into the hose, and so that flat needs to be along this spine here when it's reinstalled. And what I'm going to try to do is rejuvenate these using petroleum jelly and a heat gun, and see if I can just get these to loosen up a little, because it just really doesn't want to bend in this direction. So that's really what the problem is. It only wants to go one way. So we'll give that a shot. I'm going to take petroleum jelly on the outside, and then I'm going to take a cotton ball and push it, put petroleum jelly on the end, and push the cotton ball through to get petroleum jelly on the inside. And then I'm going to heat them up with a heat gun. And since these are petroleum based products, petroleum jelly might breathe some new life into it. And it works on refrigerator door seals, so I'm hoping it'll work for this as well. And it does look like one of these is longer than the other, but actually they're not. When you stack them one on top of the other, they are the same length, but they may have shrunk a little. So I'm going to try stretching them as well, and we'll see what happens. Okay, time to start greasing. Got me some Vaseline, lovely cocoa butter smelled petroleum jelly, which I'm going to use to first do the inside of these hoses. I already tried it with this one. I got myself a stick that I can use to push. Actually, I decided not to use the cotton ball. I'm using expanding foam earplugs. That works really, really well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this petroleum jelly, and I'm going to fill this end as much as I can. Push that down in there. Like so. It's a pretty good amount in there. And then I'll take my little ear plug, and I'm just going to push it in. And you can see it's not much is coming out, so it's pushing the Vaseline in there. I'm going to take my stick, just push that all the way through to the other side. There's a nice little slug of Vaseline there. I'm going to repeat that. Now I'm going to take whatever's left, push that in there. I'm going to run just the stick, just because the stick is not going to cling to the sides as much, so I'm hoping it'll give, get even more petroleum jelly in there and just leave that extra. Just kind of like so, just work it in. Okay, I didn't do that to this one yet, so I'm going to do the little stick maneuver on this one too. Now I'm going to slather up the outside with a bunch more. Just going to put it on nice and good, decent sized coating here. Once I get both of these done, I'm going to bake it. I decided not to use the heat gun or the hair dryer, and I just want a nice slow process. So I got my oven preset, warming up at 175 degrees. I'm going to start there. I don't want to go too hot, but that should be plenty to soften this up and let this Vaseline start penetrating back into the hose. You especially want it where the flats are, because that's the part that goes up and down. Alrighty, now I made a mess of myself and I can't hit the off button. Just gonna take this. Sorry guys. This and lay it on some aluminum foil. There we go. And I'm going to wait for the oven to preheat. Which actually it's already preheated. 175, and I'm just going to stick these in the oven and let them bake for a while. Alrighty, got them in the oven. 150 didn't really feel that warm to me, so I bumped it up to 225. And I'm probably going to just let them sit here for an hour. I'm going to go finish cleaning out the tub and come back in and check on them later. Okay, I came in here after about 25 minutes, and these were pretty hot. Checked them. They feel like they're softening a little bit. I think 225 is a little too hot. I'm turning it down to 175. I took them out. I decided to run a stick through these to kind of straighten them out and see if they'll take a set, you know, being straightened out and heated up. And then I put a little more petroleum jelly on the outside, and I'm gonna just stick them back in the oven, and we'll just see how it goes at 175. Okay, I'm having to get real creative here. They did straighten out a little bit with the using these rods over here, but they're still a little curved, so I'm just sticking them in a couple of hand tools to hold them in the opposite direction from the way they want to bend. I'm gonna bake them for a little while longer and see if that helps straighten them out some more. Okay, I baked those for about another 25 minutes. Didn't completely take out the angle. You can see it wants to naturally go one way more than the other, but I think this is way more compliant than it was before. And I think it's going to work just fine. So I really do think this helped quite a bit. When I reinstall it, I'm going to try to have it not so it's sitting like this at rest, but so it's sitting like this, and that'll try to counteract the angle, you know, that it's had for all these years. So now I'm just trying to turn it the other way, and we'll see. We should be able to easily reach the top now, and then we'll see if it still hits the bottom. But it does feel, it's all cooled off now, and I mean, it feels very much more pliable than it was before. So I do think that treatment helped it. So we'll put her back together and see what happens. All right, I got it back in the spline, and look at that. Oh, that is sweet. That is gonna work just fine. Just fine. All right, putting one of these back in. It automatically aligns because of this, with the way it's supposed to be, with the flats going along the top and bottom. So you just get that back in, push it down as far as you can, twist it, and let it come back up into the channel. And then on this end, you just kind of grab, if you can grab it with the pliers, just pull the hose out and get it back outside of this little ring here, and it'll be good to go. Okay, I got everything in place. This one naturally wants to bend this way, so I said I was going to reverse it for when I reinstall it. So I'm going to flip it 180 degrees, and then I'm going to put this guy, this is going to be the left Moto-Massage. These go to the outsides, and I'm going to just put that on in this direction, and then do the exact opposite for the other side. All right, the first thing you want to do in putting this back together, you take this blue piece, the manifold. You're gonna put the tube in so that this is horizontal. You roll this O-ring up towards away from the nozzle. You can push this on all the way, and then roll the O-ring down on top of the nozzle. Like so. Just like that. And we take our two spines here, and like I said, this is the way I want to mount it. I want it to end up, so this would be on the right, because I want this to kind of be hanging in this direction, because before it was like this and low. So this is going to kind of raise up the bottom end a little bit, and it's going to be mounted in the opposite direction from what it was before. So I'm going to put this one on on the right here and tighten it up. Being careful not to cross thread. Okay, and so you want to end up with this on the right hand side for this dual Moto-Massage, and these are vertically aligned, and this line here is horizontal. So that's where you want that to end up. I'll do the same thing on the other side, and you also want that to be on the outside. Like so. They look like they're pretty well even in length. Got that to the outside, and then the last thing you do, you snap this in. You gotta push it over a fair amount to get it into that hole, and that hole there, because so you gotta kind of push the whole assembly over and get that in there. And it's not the easiest thing to do when you're holding a camera, which is why I'm not focusing on it. So actually, I'm just gonna turn this off and get this in. But what it's gonna do is you're gonna push it over, get it in that hole, and then push it down all the way to the bottom so it gets seated below this lip here, right like that. So, okay, so you can see that it's seated, and then it's below this little line here, this lip. You want to get that, underneath the lip on both sides. And there you have it. Now the fun part comes. Fill it up and see if it works. Alright, first you got to put the cover on. And don't do what I did. I screwed the screws back in this hole and just looked down here and stuck the screw into the cap hole and started screwing instead of putting it in here. So don't make that dumb mistake. And then once you do that, you just put the caps back on. Just push them back in. Hopefully the bottom one will stay after I bunged it up. Oh, good. And there you go. Now we're done. Now we're ready for water. Okay, the moment of truth has arrived. Well, let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, it's making it up to the top now. And all the way down to the bottom. Oh, that feels good. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see it working, but it's working fine. So that's a pretty good fix. Saved 230 bucks by doing this. Feels like it's working just great. Take away from this, I would recommend buying the new manifold piece, because you're probably not going to be able to save that. and that's a cheap piece. I mean, it costs $8 in shipping, but the piece itself is only like 15 bucks. So buy one of those, and you know, if you feel like it, try to recondition these hoses, and I think you'll be good to go again. You know, rather than try to buy some other kind of a hose, because it looks like these hoses were engineered to go up and down, specifically, like with the way that they're shaped. So I'm not sure how well other hoses would work. I mean, you could certainly give that a try, but I mean, this is kind of a zero cost, sort of a, you know, a little bit laborious, but it'll work. So give it a chance. Honey Badger out.